Hey everyone, this is Sean Batchelor. Welcome to my project for review for the application that we've been tasked to design. Okay, this is my app right here, and you can use it to find your state senator, representative automatically by last name or by state. Now, let me start off by showing you this button right here. I added this to view search previous results based on the input from the instructor. And if you click it, if there's already results in the database, then it'll load those up. If there's no results in the database, it won't load anything at all. As a matter of fact, you won't even see this button. It will not display. Now, if I click on auto, it'll find a senator or representative, whichever parameter you set in there, and it gives you an alert right here. You can't really see it on the screen, but it's saying this entry has been updated to the cloud. So I click on OK, and the same thing for the second result. Now the alert's only in there for demo purposes. I would have to take it out if I were to put this in production mode, because if you got to search for a representative, you're going to get like 20-30 results, and that's going to be a lot of clicking to get rid of those alerts. So I will get rid of those for production, but just to display that it did add to the cloud. So once you click add to the cloud, then you can go back to the screen with this button right here that says new search. You click on new search, it'll reload the main screen. Same thing if you do the state search and the last name search. It'll either update or add to the cloud depending on if there is already an existing results there. Now if I click on previous, it does the same thing. It'll update to the cloud. It will also add to the cloud if there is no existing entry in the cloud. Same thing with the local storage. It'll update or add local storage also. And you get the same button here for new search results. Now let me show you. If I turn my Wi-Fi off, then if I click on view previous results right here, it gives you the heading that says past search results, and then there's actually an error message written at the top saying your connection is down, showing old search results. Reconnect and click here to perform a new search. If I don't reconnect to the internet and I click on that label, it gives me an alert telling me I still have no connection, so I still have to try to reconnect and then do it again. And if I reconnect to the internet, and then when I click this, it will actually reload the screen again. So it does that network check to verify if you do have internet connection. And that's pretty much it. All the features work, all the functionalities work, the add, the update, the delete. Oh, I should show you the delete. If you do a search and your senator comes up, okay, update, update. If I hit senator, I can save this person to my contacts list, and let me show you that real quickly. You get an alert saying it's saved to your contact list. I just saved Bill Nelson. I think it was Bill Nelson. So let me go to my address book, contacts, and if I look for it was Marco Rubio. If I look for Marco Rubio, you'll see right here it says Marco Rubio, and then if you can read the contact, it gives you Marco Rubio, U.S. Congress, the telephone number, his email address. So I added that feature to add it to your contact list, and that actually works really well. Now if I go back to the app, I can also click on Marco Rubio, and then when I click on delete, it'll remove him from the table, and it will also delete him from the cloud. Once again, I have an alert here that says deleted from the cloud just for display purposes. So it deletes it from the cloud, and if we reload the cloud, it'll show you that that actually did happen. The delete happened. So that's the application. It works perfectly pretty much on iOS. On Android though, I did have a few issues. This is my Android phone. The application, it loads just like the iPad. However, I can't get it to go past this screen right here. If I click on auto, it'll freeze, and then the app crashes. And the results I'm getting from my log, my console log, is that there is a database that is not closed. Now I searched through all the code, and everything is closed the way it should be. So I don't know why it's not doing that. If if I can figure out where to close that's not closed, then the app would actually work perfectly as it does on the iOS too. But it does load and it does give you your options. It does give you the screens. Um, it just crashes. I guess that's probably just one line that I need to figure out what's wrong with it. My flowchart right here, and this is, I broke it down into the JavaScript files that I have and the functions and listeners that are in there. So this is the main app.js right here. You start, it does the cloud login, output arrow, installs database, and then it does a network check. If it gets a yes, it'll do make UI. If it gets a no, it'll do the offline build logic. And once it does the make UI for the yes network check, it does the make fields logic. So this is my make fields logic right here. I start, I make some fields, and then you choose your senator or your representative, and based on your choice, you're going to do automatic search, you're going to do by name or by state, and for all three, it'll set internal storage. For automatically, it's going to do an additional check for online, and then it does the internal storage and then a geolocate. Then it does get district to get your district from that geolocate that it does. Outputs an error if there is no. All three will give you this, will run this get details function, which if there's an error, it outputs the error, and if there is a response from it, it'll set data to internal storage, output the results to you. That data is then set to internal storage again, and the results are sent to the cloud. This is my get details functions, which is called right here. And in get details, that data that we stored, we read it to start a for loop. We make the layout from that loop, read internal storage within that loop again, check the database if it's empty or not. If it's empty, it'll update that database. If it's empty, it will add to the database. If it's not empty, it will update that entry in the database itself. Same thing for the cloud. It checks if the cloud is empty. If the cloud is empty, then it will insert that entry into the cloud. If not, it'll update that entry in the cloud right here. I have two listeners that are important in there. There's a few other things, but these are the two big ones. The close button listener right here, it does an offline check. So when you turn that Wi-Fi off, it'll either build the main screen so you can do another search, or it will run directly into your offline build stuff, your offline build function. So it'll show you stuff that are offline. And then I have a listener on the table itself, and what that does is start, you get an alert, and you have three choices. You can go back, you can delete, or you can save. If you save, it'll check for if you have authorization to use the contacts. If yes, it adds it to the contacts. If the authorization is unknown, then it's going to either you're going to ask for authorization and then add it to the contacts, or you're going to do an output. If you click on delete, you will get it will delete it from the database, delete it from the cloud. It will also delete it from the table too. And then this is my offline build function. Right here, you start, read internal storage, check for online. If you are online, then you're going to return that it's available, and it'll make that make UI screen available to run again. If it's not online, and it does the offline UI build, which runs a for loop. This checks for previous entries in the database. If there is no, then no output needed. If there is, then it's also going to query the cloud. If there is no answer, you're going to insert it into the cloud and update to the cloud. And then this is my warning label listener. And start, check for network, no output. Check for network, yes. And then you're going to make UI and then run the fields function again. The table listener is the same as the other table listener that's in there. Now this is my flow, my user flow right here. And the only thing that's different pretty much from the last week's submission is right here I have the load previous results button. And what that does is it will check the check the database and the cloud and see if there are results there. If there are results to show, then it will show you the results in the same format that it does if it were online. If it is offline, that is network false, then the only thing that changes is the header right here and the error message that you get. All three screens except for load previous results and network offline, they will give you that alert box that prompts you to either delete it from the database, delete it to save, delete, or go back. And if you delete, you'll delete from the cloud and the database. If you save, you'll save to the cloud and the database. Sorry, if you save, this is wrong right here. If you save, it should save to your address book. If you click this load previous results button and you are offline, then when you click on delete, it will only delete it from the table. It won't delete from the cloud because obviously you're not online, so you can't delete anything from the cloud. So that's it. That's everything.